Doc Rivers was on Uninterrupted's Go Off podcast and called LeBron the best athlete in NBA history. Doc didn't stop there, and in reference to LeBron revealing how he trained to play in the NFL in 2011, he said LeBron could have been the greatest player ever had he stuck to football. So, Shannon, I'm really intrigued what you have to say about this. Do you agree?
No. Skip, people think because you're great at one sport, I mean, you're really great, you're historical great, and you're a great athlete, that you can transition and play any other sport and be just as equally as great. And that's not always the case. Now, we've seen rare occasions where you see a you see a Bo Jackson, or you see a Deion Sanders. Those are or Jim Thorpe. Skip, those are the rare. You're talking about, in 100-year history, you're talking about maybe three, four guys. Now, do I believe LeBron could have made it to the NFL? Yes, with his work ethic. If he's going to have the same type work ethic that he displays now in basketball, yes. But he's going to probably Skip, I believe he's too tall to play tight end. 6'9.5", that's too tall. I'm just going to say skill positions. Okay, he's going to have to either be a wide receiver, too tall to play tight end, or he's going to have to be a defensive lineman. He's going to be Ed Too Tall Jones. So for me, Skip, yes, I do believe LeBron could have, if he stuck with football, let basketball go, and says, okay, I'm going to have the same mindset. I'm going to give it everything I possibly can, devote all my time to playing football. Yes, I do believe he could have made it, but I believe it is a stretch to say he would have been the greatest football player of all time. Those are two different things, Skip. Making it to the NFL is one thing. Now, you're taking a huge leap. You're talking a gargantuan step, saying the greatest of all time in a said sport. No, I do not believe LeBron would have been the greatest. And Skip, I don't think anybody will argue. I'm probably LeBron's biggest fan. But I do not believe LeBron James would have been the greatest football player. I do believe he could have played had he devoted the time and the effort and the energy like he does basketball to the NFL. But I do not believe he'd have been the greatest of all times. No, I do not believe that.
Quick point of order before I answer Jenny's question. You just referred to LeBron as 6'9.5". So during the quarantine, did he grow a half inch? Because I didn't know he was 6'9.5".
Okay, Skip, 6'9". I still believe he's still too tall to play tight end. So he's going to be a wide receiver, or he's going to be Ed Too Tall Jones.
I thought you were suggesting because now he's gotten so much rest, so much sleep during the quarantine with no basketball, obviously, that he actually grew a little bit at age, how old is he now? No. 42, or I can't remember.
35.
In his 17th year.
Well, Skip, he might be Ted Hendricks. He might be the start. You know, Ted Hendricks was 6'8", so he might have been that. Do I? Okay. Now, first point about what Doc said. Remember, he was speaking on a podcast on Uninterrupted. I believe Uninterrupted is owned and sometimes even operated by one LeBron James. So it's like, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. But in this case, when in Rome, tell the Romans what they want to hear. So obviously, he's preaching to LeBron's choir. So maybe Doc went a little over the top because he was laying it on thicker than molasses about a LeBron that, I don't know, the Clippers that he coaches may face LeBron's Lakers in whatever end-of-the-year playoff format tournament that we're going to have. So maybe he was trying to butter up LeBron so he could take him down, because I thought Doc went a little too far. So let's deal with the first premise. LeBron, he said, was the greatest, or is the greatest athlete in the history of the NBA. Well, and he said, Michael was a star. Michael was great. Kobe was great. Kawhi is great. But this guy, he says, was has been on a whole nother level. I do not believe, Shannon, that LeBron is a better athlete than Michael Jordan was, because Michael had a quickness about him, a quick spring, an acrobatic hang time talent that I don't think LeBron has ever had. LeBron's a little bit of a stiff athlete to me, even though he's obviously supremely gifted. I don't believe LeBron is quite the athlete that Kobe was.
But I don't think Doc was talking about just athleticism. I think he was talking about the whole package, the specimen that is LeBron James. And Doc's point was, back in Jordan's day, there was this beast in the West named Karl Malone. And what was he, Shannon? 6'9", 2...
He was 6'9", yeah.
I don't know what he was, 250, 260.
He got to be 260, yeah, 250, 260, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, Doc's point is LeBron is taller and maybe 10 pounds heavier than the beast who was the mailman. And I agree.
Right.
I've never seen anything like the total package that is LeBron James, because we're talking about a huge human with incredible hand-eye. He doesn't have a great handle, but he's the best passer in basketball. And as I've always said, he's the greatest attacker of the basket we've ever seen. Now, my problem with LeBron has been he's like a benign bully in that he doesn't have cold-blooded killer in him, but when he realizes the advantage that he has over most defenders, if he'll just take advantage, which he sometimes does, he can bully anybody, because there are very few, in fact, there's really nobody in this league today who can keep him from the basket. So the point is that I get where Doc is going there, and yet I'm also going to give Doc this one. I told you the other day when we first dealt with LeBron talking about 2011. 2011. During that lockout, going into the next season after his first finals with the Miami Heat, he was talking about actually playing football and trying out for the Cowboys. And he said, I started running 40-yard dashes to time. And I speculated to you, could he have run 4.5? Yeah, I think he could run a 4.5 40 at 260-odd pounds. And then he said he was actually hitting the blocking sled and doing football-type drills. Okay, well, if he had concentrated from age, I don't know, like let's start at age 14. If he had focused solely on football at age 14 on, man, listen, I told you, I think he could have been a Pro Bowl receiver. And I don't even know how you quantify what he would have been. You say he's too tall to be a tight end. I don't know. He'd just be some hybrid. You could play him in the slot. You could split him out. I don't know. You could do a lot of things with him, because it would be rare. I don't know who could guard him, especially in the red zone. I don't know who could out-jump ball 6'9" LeBron, because obviously he can catch, and he's physical. And if he'd gotten in the weight room for football, I don't know, maybe he could have played at 280 for all I know. So I give Doc those points. He couldn't have been the GOAT, but I think he could have been a Pro Bowl receiver.
With Skip, he might need to be careful, because with that frame, he's already, so let's just say like LeBron at one point in time was 260. With that frame, he's lifting weight, he's going to be Jonathan Ogden. He's going to be over 300 pounds, he's going to be an offensive lineman. Okay. Because with that height, Skip, you see how, you look at basketball players, Skip, as they start to get old, and you see the weight that they carry. So imagine a young LeBron that's lifting weights, that's eating properly. So I'm applying this, Skip, that he's going to do just like he's doing in basketball. Have a trainer. He's going to eat properly. He's going to be just as judicious in his eating and nutrition and his training as he is in basketball, as he is in football. So he's going to have to be careful with that frame. He can put on weight. So he might end up being an offensive lineman, Skip, if he's not careful. So let's just say he's going to monitor what he eats. He's a wide receiver or a defensive end at the worst case. But I do believe he could have made it. But, Skip, I think that's a real big stretch, even on Uninterrupted, for Doc to say he'd have been the greatest football player, because we've had some great guys in this league.
Okay, I get you there, but I still say that LeBron has the physique and the durability. Remember, I always say he's the most durable superstar I've ever seen. I realize, obviously, pro basketball is not pro football. But Shannon, he did have the groin issue last year with the Lakers. But in general, I'm going to knock on wood because I hate to even bring these things up. But in general, LeBron's had no surgeries. He's had no knees, No shoulders, no Achilles. I'm knocking on wood. I don't even like to talk about this because it's just, you dare the injury gods. But the point is, he's elastic enough that he falls a lot. Obviously, he gets knocked down a lot when he drives the basketball. And yet, he's had no major injuries, and he's in year 17. So if I project that into football, could he have stayed relatively healthy? Yeah, I think he could have, especially if he just played receiver. Now, I don't know about mentality to play defense. I don't know if he could have rushed the passer. I don't know. Like I've always said, he's a lover, not a fighter. So I don't know. There were days in this league where, and you probably played with some players who were not real tough guys. Like back in the day, pass rushers when you couldn't hold like you can today. If you go back to Harvey Martin or my friend Pat Toomey, who also made a Pro Bowl, Harvey Martin was the co-MVP of a Super Bowl. They weren't tough guys. They were smart guys. They were high IQ guys, but they weren't cold-blooded killers, yet they could really rush the passer. So could LeBron have been one of those guys? Maybe.
Well, Skip, maybe he's Von Miller and not LT. Because, you get the same guys. You get guys that go get after the quarterback, but LT is a different animal. You've been around LT. You covered LT. I've been around. I was in the era with LT and been around him. He had a different mindset. But, you can accomplish the same goal. But, Skip, for me, look, Danny Ainge was a super athlete. Skip, he got drafted by the Blue Jays. Now he wasn't
started
a
for the Blue
basketball
Jays.
player.
He was starting second baseman.
Yeah. So there have been some very talented guys in the NBA. Tony Gwynn got drafted. Tony Gwynn, had an opportunity to play basketball for the Clippers. So, Skip, there have been some talented guys, but we've never seen a guy that can combine what LeBron. Because let me ask you a question: who you think would win a foot race if we said in their prime, Kobe, LeBron, or MJ? Who would win a 40?
I really think Michael would have.
You think Michael would win?
I think Michael, he's because he was 6'6", 215, and I swear he could run 4.4. I'm pretty sure.
Kobe might get him. Kobe, I don't know. Skip, here's the thing, and what people like, well, his 40 time was that 40 time. There have been a lot of guys that have a faster 40 time than Deion Sanders, but I'm not taking any football player over Deion Sanders if you says, okay, you line up on the line and let's go race. I'm not taking anybody. Now, maybe I take Skip Bob Hayes, somebody like that, but I'm saying a football player, no. There's a difference between, race and speed. I got to beat you as opposed to just timing for the 40, Skip. And you've been around guys that can just test and then guys that can just run.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.